Gold Rush Parker Schnabel in trouble at Dominion Creek. Gold Rush recently started the new year earlier this month, starting with a January 3rd doubleheader. However, recent events suggest Parker Schnabel hasn't gotten things off to a good start. His team was also plagued by issues in the following episode. The Gold Rush reality series follows various companies and their gold mining ambitions. First airing in 2010, viewers have seen gold mining expeditions in Alaska, Oregon, and Colorado, among other places. One-figure viewers have gotten to know through the series in Parker Schnabel. Originally from a mining family, Parker started working at his grandfather, John Schnabel's Big Nugget mine at a young age. He eventually took over the mine when his grandfather retired. As noted by monsters and critics, Schnabel got things off to a poor start during an episode released on January 3. His most recent venture, the $15 million Dominion site, was already seen as a risk. Schnabel originally set his ambitions on a 10,000-ounce goal. However, only 364 ounces were mined over a period of 7 weeks. Thanks to this, Schnabel and his team now risk a large debt. In addition, Schnabel's team also faced technical issues early on. One prominent piece of equipment on the series is the wash plant, Big Red, which is used to wash down grains. However, during the recent episode, a broken spring was found in Big Red's shaker deck. This caused a notable delay, as Big Red had to be taken apart and reassembled in order to be transported. Fortunately, the wash plants were working again by the end of the week. This brought the season's total to 567.5 ounces, though it was still under expectations. During the following episode, more issues came up when a feeder conveyor jammed, once again delaying operations. A wash plant belt was found to have had a tear. At one point, a rookie dozer operator also risked tipping over an edge. Fortunately, some timely intervention from Mitch Blaschke prevented anyone from getting hurt. Despite the drama, the total increased to 804.25 ounces. However, this was still less than Schnabel's ultimate goal. At this time, Schnabel's team still risks financial losses unless more gold can be found in time. As monsters and critics noted, as Gold Rush unfolds, viewers are left wondering if Dominion Creek will yield the payoff Schnabel desperately needs. Otherwise, as the publication noted, this season will mark one of his biggest defeats yet. Have you been keeping up with recent episodes of Gold Rush? Make sure you come back to TV Shows Ace for all the latest reality TV and celebrity news. Gold Rush. Parker Schnabel in trouble at Dominion Creek. Parker Schnabel, one of the most well-known gold miners on the hit show Gold Rush, has seen his fair share of challenges over the years. From battling harsh weather conditions in the wilds of the Yukon to facing the pressure of managing his own mining operation, the young gold miner has earned a reputation for his grit and determination. But even the most seasoned miners face moments when things go wrong, and in the latest season of Gold Rush, Parker finds himself in serious trouble at Dominion Creek, a historic mining site that could make or break his season. Dominion Creek, nestled deep in the Yukon, is no ordinary mining ground. Steeped in history, the creek was once the heart of one of the area's earliest gold rushes, and despite its age, it still holds the potential to yield riches beyond measure. Parker, always looking for new opportunities, had heard rumors of untapped gold in this forgotten corner of the region. With his team ready for action, he set his sights on Dominion Creek, determined to revive it and strike it rich. However, what Parker didn't anticipate was the immense difficulty and the various unforeseen complications that would come his way. As Parker's team arrived at Dominion Creek, they were met with an unexpected challenge. The first obstacle was the terrain. The creek itself was far more rugged than Parker had anticipated. His crew, accustomed to working in challenging conditions, found themselves battling swift currents and unstable ground. Mining equipment, which had been designed for different environments, was quickly rendered useless in some parts of the creek. The logistical challenge of transporting machinery and supplies became a headache, with trucks getting stuck in the soft, marshy ground and the weather turning against them as torrential rains soaked the area. Parker's first sign of trouble came when his crew began testing the ground for gold. Though they had done their research and expected to find some signs of gold, the results were disappointing. The gold was sparse, much more so than expected for a location with such a rich history. The initial test pans were disappointing, and when they began digging deeper into the creek bed, they found that the sediment layers weren't as rich as they had hoped. Parker, who had a reputation for turning mines, wasn't ready to give up yet. However, the pressure of running a large operation with high expectations weighed heavily on him. While Parker was determined to push forward, the situation soon became even more complicated. One morning, disaster struck when a critical piece of machinery broke down. The gold wash plant, the heart of the mining operation, suddenly stopped working, leaving the crew unable to process any of the material they had mined. For Parker, this was a crushing blow. Without the wash plant, there was no way to separate the gold from the dirt they had dug up, meaning that all their efforts were essentially wasted. The team scrambled to make repairs, but each attempt seemed to make things worse. The isolation of Dominion Creek meant that repair parts and help were hours away, and time was running out. As the days passed, Parker's frustrations grew. With the season rapidly slipping away, he was forced to make tough decisions. Should he continue to pour resources into Dominion Creek, a site that seemed to offer less and less return, or should he pull out and seek another location where gold might be more plentiful? The costs were mounting, and the team's morale was at an all-time low. Parker knew that if they didn't find gold soon, it could be the end of his season. Even worse, it could spell the end of his reputation as a successful young miner, a reputation he had worked so hard to build. In the midst of this turmoil, Parker found himself at odds with some of his closest team members. Alex, one of the senior crew members, questioned Parker's leadership, suggesting that it might be time to cut their losses and move on to another site. The disagreement turned into a heated argument that left Parker feeling even more isolated. Leadership in a high-stakes operation like this was no easy task, and Parker began to doubt his decisions. Was his ambition getting the best of him? Was his drive to prove himself clouding his judgment? But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Parker decided to take one last gamble. He ordered his team to dig deeper into the creek, pushing the boundaries of the excavation site. The deeper they dug, the more they began to uncover remnants of gold in the form of small flakes and nuggets scattered throughout the sediment. It wasn't the big, rich veins Parker had been hoping for, but it was a sign that the creek wasn't entirely barren. Parker was reluctant to give up, but his team was on edge. They had poured so much into this project, and the stakes were high. Then, in a stroke of luck, the wash plant was finally repaired. With it functioning again, Parker's crew rushed to process the newly unearthed material. The tension in the air was palpable. If the gold wasn't there, all the time, effort, and money would be wasted. But as the first batch of dirt was run through the plant, the results were better than anyone had expected. Small gold flakes began to emerge, and they were worth their weight in treasure. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough to keep the hope alive. Despite this small victory, the trouble wasn't over. Dominion Creek was proving to be a stubborn, fickle site. The team faced more mechanical issues, more delays, and more arguments among the crew. Parker, ever the perfectionist, struggled to keep his emotions in check. As the days turned into weeks, the reality set in that mining in such a location would require even more effort and resources than they had ever anticipated. The troubles at Dominion Creek weren't just technical or mechanical. They were mental and emotional as well. Parker's leadership was being tested in ways he hadn't prepared for. As a young miner trying to carve out his legacy, he was no longer just dealing with the physical aspects of mining. He was facing internal battles within his own crew and self-doubt about whether he was truly capable of overcoming the odds. With a renewed determination, Parker refocused his efforts. The gold was there, but it would take all of his skill and the hard work of his crew to extract it. Dominion Creek, though difficult, held the potential for great rewards if Parker could push through the challenges. His leadership would be the deciding factor, and in the end, Parker knew that despite the struggle, his greatest strength was his ability to rise to the occasion. In the end, the story of Parker Schnabel at Dominion Creek isn't just one of finding gold. It's about the trials of leadership, the perseverance through failure, and the relentless pursuit of success. The true gold that Parker found was not just in the creek, but in the lessons learned along the way.